What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got pretty much the full rules of the Digimon trading card game. Yes, there are still a couple little lingering questions, but I recently showed you the general rules, the big outline of the rules, and that video has proven extremely popular. It is currently sitting as the third most popular video on this channel, and it will be overtaken and becoming the second most popular in the not too distant future. Should be within a few days. However, we now have a lot more information. There are still a couple lingering questions, like I said, but we've basically got everything we need now to really understand how the game is played, and that is awesome. So let's have a look, shall we? Now, starting off with the basic rules of deck construction, we are rocking 50 card decks here. And you are limited, and this was revealed and confirmed on the official Twitter recently, 4 copies of each numbered card. Not each named card, each numbered card. So you can have 4 of the Agumon from the starter deck, and you could have 4 of the Agumon which are coming as promos, and you could have, in the promo pack, and you can have 4 of the Agumon which have been confirmed to be coming as promos in that magazine soon. So, yeah. That's a bit weird. You could have 12 Agumon or more, but it is limited by card number, not by card name. And your 50 cards will contain Digimon, they're the ones you fight with, Tamer cards which come and support you, and option cards which are single use. Cool. Now, as well as your 50 card decks, we also have Digitamer, which are separate and start in the raising area. They're not part of your deck. They have different card backs and everything. Now, I don't believe we've actually had confirmation here, but it seems very much like there will be 3 Digitamer in your deck, and that's a sensible prediction based off the fact that the theme decks, the starter decks, are 53 cards, so that's 50 cards plus 3 Digitamer. Now, before we go any further, I do need to give a massive shout out to DigimonWorld.org and to the lovely Vincent Rekfan over on Facebook. The pair of them, combined with Google Translate, etc., is how I managed to get together this list of rules, so thank you to those lovely people. And I mentioned Digimon World a lot, right? It's a brilliant blog. If you're into the whole Digimon thing, go and bookmark it, would ya? Pretty gosh darned awesome. Now, if we start off having a look at the mat, what we can see here is that you've got your main deck, you've got space to place 5 security cards, you've got a battle area where the battling happens, and a raising area where your Digitamer go, as well as a trash or discard area for Digimon that have been destroyed, KO'd, and for option cards that have been used. That's roughly how the play area looks. Now, in terms of starting the game, nice and simple, you take 5 cards at random from the top of your deck, and you put them as face-down security cards. That is to say, the cards that need to be knocked off to win the game. We'll get there in a second. You then draw an opening hand of 5 cards. We all start with 5 cards in hand. Now, there are 2 win conditions in the game. Number 1, attack your opponent while they have no security cards. So 5 get put down at the beginning of the game, and your goal is to try and knock those 5 security cards off, and then attack again to win the game. Or if a player tries to draw a card from the deck, but they're unable to, then they do lose the game. Now, I would like a little bit of clarity on this. In games like Pokemon, this is only at the beginning of your turn when you would go to draw a card, whereas in other games it is any time you would go to draw a card. We will have to wait for a little bit of clarification. Now, at this stage, it is very much worth pointing out that the game system here is clearly a modified version of Chrono Clash. Obviously, it's a modified version of Chrono Clash. So some of the places where we have questions, we can look to Chrono Clash and see what they do, but there is no guarantee that they will actually work the same way in Digimon. You have been warned. In Chrono Clash, it is any time you try and draw a card from the deck and fail to do so, but we don't, I believe, have confirmation that that's exactly the way it works in Digimon yet. Now, in terms of the phases, there are basically 4 phases during the game. There is an active phase where you turn all Digimon from rest to active mode. Your Digimon will be in rest mode after they have attacked. and we presume they will be in rest mode when you play them. I don't believe this was confirmed in V-Jump magazine where all of this stuff came from. However, in Chrono Clash, you do play cards exhausted. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen here. We will need confirmation. There is then a draw phase where you draw one card, but the player going first does not draw a card on their first turn of the game. There is then a raising phase where you can do one of two things. You can take one of your Digitamer, your baby Digimon, and turn it face up in the raising area, basically hatch it into a baby level Digimon, or you can evolve a Digitamer that is already in the raising area and then send it into the battle area. Cool. In your main phase, there are a bunch of things you can do. You can play Digimon, you can evolve Digimon, you can attack with your Digimon, you can play option and Tamer cards, and you can essentially do whatever you like within the memory gauge. Now, if this is the first Digimon video you've seen of mine, you might not have heard of the memory gauge, otherwise you probably have. The memory gauge is a shared resource between both players. And every time you play a card, you have to pay the cost of the card. So if we go back, I talked about Agumon a minute ago, so it seems like it would be a little bit mean to not talk about Agumon now. Let's say you pay 5 to play the Agumon, the promo one. Then you move the memory gauge 5 spots towards your opponent. So the example you can see on the screen here, you've got 2 memory, you play Agumon, that's a 5 cost card, your opponent then has 3 memory and it's their turn. But if you had 7 memory, it would take you down to 2 and it would still be your turn. You can do whatever you like on your turn until the memory gauge goes to 1 for your opponent, at which case it's their turn. Which means if you play a really expensive card to end your turn, you're going to give your opponent lots of memory to use, but if you play a nice cheap card to end your turn, you give your opponent full memory. This is very, very important. Now, in terms of playing Digimon, you've got 2 options here. You can play them using their normal cost or their evolution cost. So to use the starter deck Agumon as an example here, you pay 3 if you play it down normally, you pay 0 if you evolve it from a level 2 Digimon, i.e. if you evolve from a Digitamer. Nice! Now the rules of evolution are that you can evolve any Digimon into the next level the same colour. So you can evolve this Agumon into any level 4 red Digimon, regardless of whether it should be in the same evolution line or not. But we do have inheritable and non-inheritable abilities, so let's just stick with Agumon for a while. Seems like a nice example we can be using. The one from the promo pack has a non-inheritable ability, whereby when you play it, you destroy one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 power or less. They use DP, but it's power. Call it Digimon power. The point is, that's a non-inheritable skill. You use it when you play it, and then that's it. It's gone. Whereas the one that's coming out in the starter deck has an inheritable ability, whereby during your turn, this Digimon gets 1000 more power. And inheritable abilities can go all the way up. The example on the screen is a level 6 Digimon that's got a level 3, a level 4, and a level 5 Digimon, all with inheritable skills, so that level 6 Digimon essentially has 4 different skills they can take advantage of. That's a little bit awesome. Now, I've mentioned security cards so far. Security cards are your path to winning the game. You start with 5, your opponent starts with 5, and then you try and knock them off. Now, what happens is, and we've got most of the information here, but again, a little bit of this is assuming it works like Chrono Clash. When you attack a security card, that security card is flipped face up. If it is an option or a Tamer card, you have to resolve the security skill. So if we take Yagami Taichi as an example, when it comes out as a security card, you get to play it without paying the cost. It's a Tamer card that gives all of your Digimon an extra 1000 power. So when you play it as a security card, yay! Although it just means it goes straight into play and your opponent gets rid of one of your security cards. If, however, the security card is a Digimon, then a battle happens. And essentially what happens is that you compare the power of the attacker and the security Digimon, and if it's like Chrono Clash, which we assume it is, the security card will be discarded regardless. But if the security card has a higher power than the attacker is then destroyed. Cool. Now, there is no, we believe, general rule about blocking. Certainly Digimon World has told us that there just isn't. Sorry about that. But we have seen cards like Unimon, for example, that's got the blocker ability, which says that essentially when another Digimon attacks, you may move it from active to rest, and then it becomes a target of that attack, though we don't know what power it is, unfortunately. So you can essentially sacrifice a Digimon to stop your opponent attacking a security. And this is the kind of thing that's really going to determine how long and involved the games are. If it's really easy to knock the security off, then it's going to take 2 minutes. But if you can add lots of security and block a bunch, we can have some longer, more skill-intensive games. We're aiming for the midpoint here, that's what we're going for. And the good news is that some cards do have security attack +1. That is to say that they can attack multiple security cards in one go. So, as an example here, we could talk about Wargreymon. Wargreymon comes in and says that for every 2 evolution sources you have, this Digimon gets security attack +1. So to use the example from before, where it would have 4 evolution sources, including the Tamer, we would assume, then it would have security attack +2, which means you're actually potentially taking out 3 security cards in one go. Which sounds nuts, but remember it's a level 6 Digimon. It's going to take you a couple of turns to get up to the stage where you've got a level 6 Digimon on the field, so... Or I suppose you can get it out immediately by just paying 12, but then you don't have any evolution sources, so you don't get the extra security attack, so you'll probably be safe. And though we haven't really seen many examples yet, we have seen that the Patamon, which comes as one of the promos in the promo pack, the 6-card promo pack, when your security cards get to a certain level, you get to recover 1. That is to say, put a card from the top of your deck as an extra security card, so your opponent is now further away from winning. Now, as well as attacking security cards, you can attack Digimon, though it seems like you can only attack Digimon that are in rest mode, not in active mode. And you just compare powers, and the one with the lowest power gets destroyed. We need confirmation, but it seems very much like if there is a tie here, they will both get destroyed. Imagine in a fight 2 swordsmen both stab each other. They don't both survive. Sorry about that. Now, we do also have Tamer and options cards. These are, well, they're not used for attacking. They're helper cards. So, I showed you a Tamer a moment ago. I showed you Yagami Taichi. It is a 2-cost Tamer that gives all of your Digimon an extra 1,000 power. As an example of an option card, we could look at Gaia Force here, which just destroys one of your opponent's Digimon, which even as an 8-cost seems nuts. And it's got a security effect, which activates your main effect. So when it comes out as a security card, you can destroy one of your opponent's Digimon. Hopefully that is ruled that you can do that even if you're destroying the attacking Digimon. Because obviously, if we've got somebody with security attack +2, +3, etc., we'd like to stop them. As a side note, when you are attacking as a security, if the Digimon gets destroyed, or there is a skill that puts memory onto your side to take it off your opponent's turn, the attack should end, even though your opponent has an extra security attack, they would essentially lose it. And that's basically what you need to know. There's still a few questions I would like real confirmation on. Do Digimon enter play exhausted? We think they do, but we've not, I believe, had it confirmed. If 2 Digimon battle that are the same power, are they both destroyed? We believe they are, but again, I don't think we got confirmation. At what point does not drawing lose you the game? Probably any point, but again, nice to have confirmation. Can you attack active Digimon? Probably not, but again, would like confirmation. And then less to do with mechanically, more to do with how the game's going to flow. How common are blockers? This seems like the kind of game where having multiple blockers is going to be an advantage. And moving on from that, how long will games take? Because there is a possibility here that the game just devolves into, I'm playing a bunch of stuff with security, attack, plus whatever, and I'm going to win in like 3 turns. But similarly, there's a possibility that there's lots of blockers and lots of recovery. The sweet spot really is looking for somewhere in the 15 to 20 minute range, so that you can have a nice best of 3 in like 45 minutes. That's generally what, at least as far as I'm concerned, card games should be aiming for. We are left with a couple of questions, and there are a few things here that we've extrapolated from Chrono Clash, and all of this is really just taken from unofficial translations of Japanese magazines, so you have to bear with us a little bit here, but it seems an awful lot like this game is shaping up really nicely. The more time goes by, the less worries I have about this game. From a mechanical standpoint, this game seems really strong. This game seems absolutely brilliant. Maybe we'll end up being wrong about it, but as it stands at the moment, this looks amazing. And given that we've now got 2,000 members of the Facebook group, when Chrono Clash only has 1,300, you know Digimon are going to be listening, so let's make sure we try and get the game over here. I've done a video about how you can do that. I'll link it in the description. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to know what you think about these rules. I'd like to know your opinions on the game, and I'd like to know what you still want to know about the game. Although I feel like I genuinely understand how the game goes now, and that makes me delighted. So go nuts in the comment section, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other games, and do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all that good stuff. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.